Ramadan is a month of austerity, happiness, sharing, and forgiveness. While this auspicious month of Ramadan in 2021 has prompted me to think what were the books present in over my bookshelf which were written by Islamic authors whose books delve around the lives of people who are Muslims. So without further delay, let us dive into the video which has 5 such books in my bookshelf which were written by the Islamic authors, and without further delay, let's get started. Hello everyone, thanks so much for watching ATP, that is Among the Pages, where I talk about the books and the content written among their pages. Well, if you are for the first time in here, then this is Achut Murari. I'm a Medico Plus and Instagram poet, and I talk about the books and personal development tips over this channel, so make sure you're subscribing to this channel for more such bookish content. The first book in this series goes by the name I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai, who has been a Nobel Peace Prize winner along with Kalam. Well, I clearly appreciate her way of writing, and this was the very first non-fiction book which I have read from a Muslim author. There was elaborate content about how her life has been devastated by attacks by terrorists, or maybe her struggle in increasing the pace of education being provided to rural Pakistan and to people who actually deserve it. And she has struggled a lot for gaining the rights so as to be providing education to girls especially, and this has prompted me to be reading her life. This book is can be called an autobiography, though it is not titled like as such. It is a type of autobiography where basically she has noted down all the major events which has occurred in her life, and she has titled it as I Am Malala because that was the name her father has given, and Malala literally translates as a great warrior. So she feels that she was supposed to be a warrior, she was destined to be a warrior, and that is what today she is. I pretty much love this book, and I have read this book in a very recent days, and I am absolutely loving this. This book is a short one with very easy language. The next book, of course, has to be, and how can I miss, The Kite Runner or The Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. This book is all about Islamic culture. This book is all about the way their lifestyles, their religion, their beliefs, and whatnot. So I just have to add this book, though I have made elaborate videos over reviews and as well as the summary of this book, whose link I'll be tagging down in the description, or else I'll be posting it as a card over here. You can check them out in there. Third book out of this video is The Wings of Fire by APJ Abdul Kalam. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is the 11th President of India. I have been immensely inspired by his personality. Each and every trick and tip of life which he provides as an insight to students is worth a whole value. He is such a role model. He's such a global icon. He always, despite being so famous, always sticks to his roots of an Indian culture and a classical Muslim Tamil boy right from Rameshwaram. We all used to have at least one lesson either in any subject pertaining to the life biography of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and through which I came to know about The Wings of Fire, and I was lucky enough to be finding and reading such book. There are many books by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam like India Vision 2020 and many more, but somehow I feel the most acclaimed Wings of Fire is indeed such a great read. Despite having a lot of pages in that, that's a whole bunch of book which will take a lot of time for you to get interest into. But though this book clearly states what is the goal of a person, what is the reason, the purpose of life, and what a person need to strive for in his life. So I clearly recommend you to be reading this book in this season of Ramadan. Well, basically I am indeed saying people as Muslim authors, but there is no religious bias which I am showing right over here, because book is something which is beyond religion. It has the power to clash the imagination of anyone who reads that. I just have titled this video as the people or the authors who are Muslims, only to emphasize the great religion and the great beliefs Islamic culture has in it. And I was literally aghast to know that most of there were very least books over my bookshelf which were written by Muslim authors, and this prompted me to think that I know very less about their culture, I know very less about their way of life, and I am literally so sad to know that. So I have tried to make this video where I'll be emphasizing mostly on the authors who are Muslims, but nonetheless I have not been trying to propagate or propel any sort of religious intolerance or religious bias, at least in literature. It has been just titled only for the sake of the Ramadan special as the books from the Muslim authors. Now coming to the fourth book which I absolutely loved was The Essential Rumi, which was translated into English by Coleman Barr. this has been the most famous book we can ever find in the literature. At least for me, I was deeply inspired by the number of poems which were presented in this book. We all know Muhammad Rumi has been one such flawless and you see, he was a flawless poet who has essentially put down a lot of philosophy, a lot of meaning, and a lot of reasons for life in his very short poems, which he has written in Urdu, and some were written in Arabic, Persian, and whatnot. And this book basically has the translations of all those poems. At least there were 80 unpublished poems till date, which were translated into English and were presented in this book. See, I guess that the very essence of what Rumi has written in his own language, may it be Arabic, Persian, or Urdu, somewhere in the translation the core meaning might be lost, but I was happy to be finding out that the core meaning was indeed retained. There was nothing more added, there was nothing excess removed. It is just the way, it is just the raw manner which Rumi has presented in his poem, and that is the same thing which is being presented in English. So I absolutely adore this book, and I highly recommend you to be reading this book. Though this is a very short read because everything is a poem, you see, it is not something which you sit at one stretch and complete it out, maybe as a fiction book or a non-fiction book. It is something related to your life. So indeed, each and every poem is supposed to be resonating with you in every aspect of your life. Hence, I need to be putting this book over this list. Last fifth book, and how can I forget, The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. 40 Rules of Love has always been my personal favorite. I'm so happy that my fellow booktuber, that is Sneha, has however recommended me this book. I was a lot speculative about picking this book because despite being the most famous and most acknowledged book out in my peer community, I was very skeptical initially to pick this book up. I used to think that this book has nothing more than just sentences and cliche phrases about love, maybe a heartbreak scenario. That is why I have never picked this book up. But when my friend has suggested me, saying that this book is way beyond that and there is something which you need to be experiencing and understanding right from the core of this book, I was immediately prompted to pick this book up. And it was true. I was literally blown my mind off when I was going through this book. Though somewhere I felt that this book was a slow read. It took me a lot of time to actually go into the crux of this book, and it stretched a lot, for at least for me. But I'm happy that I at least picked this book up. That's all, guys. These are the 5 books which were written by Muslim authors, and I expect you to be reading during this Ramadan month so that you can be spreading more love towards literature, more love towards the family, more love towards this world. And for everyone who's been celebrating this Ramadan, may it be a very happy month and may it be a very healthy and safe Ramadan. Till the next video. Bye bye. Thank you.